The Academy recently had their live stream highlighting who was going to be nominated for a number of categories at this year's Oscars. And of course, to no one's surprise, the Academy got it wrong. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Another discussion video I wanted to bring to you guys because there's been a lot of talk about the Barbie movie, specifically surrounding the Oscars, the nominations, who was nominated, and most importantly, who wasn't. There's an article that I want to check out with you guys, specifically from the Hollywood Reporter, that highlights the Barbie movie, highlights Margot Robbie, Greta Gerwig, Ryan Gosling, and the whole drama around that whole situation. So I want to talk to you guys about it, so let's get into it. All right, guys, so here it is. This is the article from the Hollywood Reporter, and to give you a little bit of backstory, right? The Barbie movie was phenomenal. It broke global records, global acclaim. There was a lot of talk about this movie. I personally really enjoyed it. One of my favorite movies from last year. And there was almost zero doubt from a lot of people, people who are much more knowledgeable, even in the movie space, than I am. There was a lot of almost assurance that when it came to this movie, there was going to be nomination after nomination: best director, best actor, best actress, right? Best song, best this, best that, right? It was going to receive a lot of nominations. It was almost guaranteed. I mean, this movie was absolutely phenomenal. I think it was a lot more than I'm sure people were expecting it to be. I like, from the trailers, I personally expected it to be an incredible film, and I think it even exceeded my high expectations for it. I was very excited for this movie, and after seeing it, I understood what all the hype was about with this film. And then the Oscar nominations came out, and once again, the Academy, sometimes, guys, I don't know what the Academy is trying to do. Obviously, we know a lot of these award ceremonies and Oscars, Emmys, all that. Obviously, we know a lot of these things have their own personal agendas. They have their own reasons why they nominate certain films. Some people have gone as far as to say that they're rigged. I don't know. All we can do is base what we know and base our judgments on what's happening now, based on what we've seen over the past decade plus when it comes to these award shows. And there's been moments like this that have happened in the past where there is a director or an actor, an actress, right? Someone incredibly talented who most definitely should have been nominated, and they just get completely snubbed. Now, I get it. It happens every year. There's only so many people that they can nominate, but this one, there's something about it that feels just truly not okay. So, getting into the article here, right? Ryan Gosling criticizes Margot Robbie, Greta Gerwig Oscar snubs because both of them were snubbed at the Oscars. America Forever did get nominated, which was incredible. We'll get into a whole discussion about that, but Ryan Gosling was also nominated, which leads a lot of people to feel like they kind of missed the entire point of the movie, because Ryan Gosling, I mean, he gave an incredible performance, but I mean, Margot Robbie was the star of the movie. She gave the best performance, in my opinion. Greta Gerwig created the movie that not only broke records in terms of sales and box office numbers, but received global acclaim. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. This happens all the time. I want to touch on this article a little bit. Ryan Gosling states, "I'm extremely honored to be nominated by my colleagues alongside some remarkable artists in a year of so many great films," the actor began. "And I never thought I'd be saying this, but I'm also incredibly honored and proud that it's for portraying a plastic doll named Ken," which, I mean, hey, that's incredible. The actor continued on by saying, "But there is no Ken without Barbie, and there is no Barbie movie without Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie, the two people most responsible for his history-making, globally celebrated film. No recognition would be possible for anyone on the film without their talent, grit, and genius. To say that I'm disappointed that they were not nominated in their respective categories would be an understatement." He continued on by stating that against all odds, with nothing but a couple of soulless, scantily clad, and thankfully crotchless dolls, they made us laugh. They broke our hearts. They pushed the culture, and they made history. Their work should be recognized along with the other very deserving nominees. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, I feel like it goes without saying there were a lot of incredible movies that came out last year. Just to see Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig both get snubbed for the Barbie movie, it's unforgivable. And it just feels, at the same time, it feels very typical Oscar behavior. Or not even just the Oscars, really just nominations, awards, right? This isn't something that is technically new, but it's something that, I don't know, I think it really just has a lot of people talking. Barbie, of course, was not only the biggest hit of the year and helped to bring moviegoers back to cinema with the success of Barbenheimer. Very true. Oppenheimer was also nominated for a number of awards at the Oscars, and the Oppenheimer was nominated for one of the most awards. But it was also nominated for Best Picture, and by any measure was a very tricky project to pull off. Here's some previous online reactions to the snub. Both Greta Gerwig and Robbie ignored. It's still so easy for Hollywood to overlook and discount artistic contributions of women, even when it's the point of the year's biggest movie, wrote MSNBC host Jennifer Palmieri. My God, it was nominated for Best Picture, didn't direct itself, friends. This is true. To touch on that, I pulled up another article. This is from the New York Times that highlights some of the movies that were nominated. Obviously, as you can see, Barbie was nominated for Best Picture. However, this was fully expected. Fully expected Barbie to get nominated for Best Picture. But if you scroll down a little bit, and look at how many movies were nominated for Best Picture. There's a lot of movies. I don't know how this is another thing that gets me. I don't know how they make their decision on how many films get nominated, but I feel like if there's a year that has more films releasing than your average year, right? You have a year like 2023 where it feels like there's just banger after banger, right? I feel like you should make exceptions for all of these movies to get nominated. But if you scroll down a little bit on this article, you see that every other category, whether it be Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, all of these categories only have 5 nominations. Again, if the year that's being judged, the year in question, the year that the films drop being 2023, if that year has more films than you anticipated, and those films or those directors, those actors deserve nominations, they should get the nominations. I don't see what the harm is in having 6 best directors. Because if you scroll here, they obviously made room to nominate all these movies. Best Picture, what is this? 10 movies? 10 movies? Not to say that every category should have 10 choices, 10 prospective winners. But I think that in a year that has great films, people who deserve to be recognized, then I think even if they don't win, the fact that you're not even nominated is crazy. Like, it makes you feel like they didn't even watch the movie. They clearly missed the message. They clearly didn't appreciate the artistic talent that went into creating the film, despite the complexities of its creation. And so you look at something like that, and then, I don't know, I just look at Best Director, and it's not to say that, Martin Scorsese and Christopher Nolan and, Jonathan Glazer didn't deserve nominations here, but I think you could have fit one more. That's all I'm saying. So getting back to the article, this one I found to be the most poignant. The joke I made to my wife walking out of Barbie: watch Gosling get nominated and Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie get shut out. It happened. We're living it. You wouldn't think that would have happened, but somehow, some way, that is exactly the reality that we find ourselves. The Academy needs a real man in the mirror moment, because the whole movie, the whole idea and premise of Barbie completely flew over their heads. Oh my gosh, this is so true. Still, Barbie wasn't snubbed overall. The film received 8 nominations. In addition to Best Picture, Adapted Screenplay, and the noms for Ferrera and Gosling, the film was also nominated for Costume Design, Production Design, and received 2 nominations in the Original Song category. So yeah, you could say that it's not a complete snub, right? But the 2 people who are most responsible for the creation of the film both didn't get nominated. It's one thing if we were to say that, Margot Robbie got nominated, but Greta Gerwig didn't. That still, I think that still would have pissed a lot of people off. It's another thing to say, the vice versa, but to say that both of the women, the talented women who were both equally responsible for the creation of one of the biggest films to drop last year, both of them get snubbed. It feels, I don't even know. I feel like every year that the Oscars have happened, there's always a movie or an actor and actress that gets snubbed. I just feel like this one was just such a complete miss. It's one of those things where there really wasn't a question that those two shouldn't have gotten nominated for both Best Actress and Best Director. I mean, there's no debating that they should have been nominated. And I don't think, obviously that's not what people are debating. It's what people are furious about and livid over is the fact that people saw this coming. Some people, as you can see from this comment, some people saw this coming, and it's a reality that still bothers you, that the talented women in Hollywood still go completely unnoticed for their male counterparts. I think that is the resurfacing narrative that this snub paints, is that Ryan Gosling, who, nothing against Ryan Gosling, he was incredible in the film. He definitely deserved to get nominated. However, there were two people who were equally, if not more so, responsible for the creation of that film that also deserved to be recognized, and both of them, both being women, were completely omitted from being nominated in their respective categories. Now, it's hard not to look at that and think that there's not something wrong with that. It's hard to look at that situation and think something doesn't add up here. I think that's really what we're getting at. Now, obviously, it is what it is, right? But I feel like it's truly unfortunate. It really is. I like I said, for me personally, Barbie was one of the best movies of the year. It was one of my favorite films, easily. I think it was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And I just think it's completely, I don't know. I just think it's insane that the film was completely overlooked. And I think that, obviously if you look at the Best Actress, category, a lot of talented people. Emma Stone got nominated, right? Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. I never saw Nyad, so I honestly can't speak to that. Anatomy of the Fall, I plan to see, still haven't seen it. But the other three, I mean, obviously, yes, very much so. But again, five people in the category. If, Margot Robbie was also equally should have been on this list, I think they should have and could have made room for 6. I think they really need to readjust how they make their decisions on who gets nominated or how people get nominated, how many people get nominated. I think all of those deserve another check, because, I think just suggesting 5, I don't know. But then they make a lot of room for nominating 10 films. They're like, yeah, we'll nominate 10 films. I think adding another director, adding another Best Actress nominee, typically we like to do 5, but occasionally we'll add 1 more, maybe 2. I don't see what's wrong with that. I don't know. I could rant about this all day. I think Barbie deserves so much recognition for what it did for cinema, for what it did for Hollywood. I think it was an incredible film that I don't think people necessarily took as seriously as they should have before it came out. When it came out, I feel like it really shut out a lot of haters. This film was made for Barbie's fans. It was made for people who didn't like Barbie fans. And I feel like just thinking about that concept in itself, a film that's made for people who really love this, who follow this, who grew up with this, and for people who don't, doing so in a way that not only attracts and pulls in, but also feels relatable to both, is a very challenging feat. I think Greta Gerwig did an incredible job with that film. Margot Robbie was sensational in that film. She had a banging year last year. And I think her role in Barbie was incredible. She was the perfect fit for Barbie. And so for neither of them to get nominated, it's a crying shame. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. What do you feel about this situation? Do you think that the Oscars should have more categories in the future? Do you think that there's a way that they could potentially fix this sort of thing happening? For me personally, I feel like snubs could easily be fixed if there's another actor or actress, director, whatever, that deserves to be nominated, by just adding them to the ballot. I don't see what's wrong with adding 6 instead of 5. Again, I don't know all the details about nominations or what goes on with the Academy, how they make their decisions, why there's 5. I have no idea. I'm just a fan, someone who enjoyed the movie, who enjoyed the Barbie movie, who's a big fan of the work that went into it, the process leading up to it, the behind the scenes details, and the talent in front and behind the camera. And so I want those people to be recognized. And I think, there's other snubs that we definitely could talk about. But in this video, I really wanted to focus on Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, if you enjoy these discussion style videos, you want to see more stuff just like this, let me know in the comments section. I would love to continue doing discussion videos just like this one. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.